Hello there. Today we're going to be looking at the second of the dreaming exercises in your journey of finding life purpose. So the question we're going to be looking at today is, who do you want to be? Now, most people spend most of their time looking at and thinking about what are the things that they actually want to do, rather than reflecting on the person that they want to become. But looking at what we'd like to become or be remembered for can show us what our most deeply held and often unspoken values really are. And at the end of the day, it's the person that we become that really counts more than the things that we achieve. This truth was illustrated to me some 24 years ago when I attended my own father's funeral, and a number of people stood up to give tributes from work, from church, from family, etc. And it fell to me to then round off those series of tributes as his son. And I remember thinking how strange it would be if I got up and then started to read from a list of his possessions and his achievements to basically say that here we are today to remember Roger Horn. At the time of his death, he owned a wardrobe including 10 shirts, 15 pairs of trousers, 20 pairs of socks and underpants. In possession in his house, the furniture is totaled to be a price of X number of thousands of rands. He owned a car, a house worth this much, and in his bank account there was such and such number of pounds. This is the totality of his life that we are here now to remember. Thank you for attending and goodbye. That would be really, really weird. It would also have been dishonoring to my father, because everybody is there remembering the kind of person that he was, rather than listing off the things that he actually achieved. And at the point of death, it is the person that we've become and that the impact of that person on other people that they actually remember. I've just returned from the UK where we buried my father-in-law, and we had an amazing afternoon at his memorial where tributes came in from people involved in his work life, involved in the family, fostered children, people involved in the local church, family and relatives, and everybody spoke of the person that he was, the person that he'd become, how they encountered him. And it was a wonderful afternoon of inspiration remembering this man. So today we're going to get you to think about that. How do I want to be remembered when I die? That might sound a morbid thing, but it's actually to focus on what do you want your life to be about? How do you want to impact people? What kind of person do you want to be remembered for? And as we've said, you may even want to imagine what kind of eulogies do you want people to say at your funeral. Imagine yourself there. What would you want that person from that part of life to say about you? Do you want to be thought of as a committed parent, someone who always helped out in practical ways? If you had somebody from your workplace, would you want to be a great employee, remembered as a mentor, a business entrepreneur, a friend? Try to be specific. For instance, instead of just saying, I want to be a business person, think about, do you want to be financially successful in business? How do you want to be known as in terms of your relationships and how finance impacted the people that were around you? Do you want to be an innovator in industry? And if so, how do you want to be remembered as someone who stimulated innovation in the lives of other people? Is it someone who took great care of their employees? What kind of stories do you want them to be telling about how they turned up at work on a rough day or when they achieved something and how you encourage them? Or do you want to be a specialist inventor or a global shaker? Again, like in the previous exercise where we looked at what do you want to do, we looked at the different life categories, and we want you to use those as listed in your notes to help you think as wide-ranging as possible when it comes to, for example, the whole idea of work. Some people might say, I want to be an innovator at work who is known for thinking outside the box and coming up with great new products and services that fill real needs. Or they may say, I want to be really good at least one thing in my life, to be a genuine expert in my field, a co-worker that others come to when they're in trouble at their time of need or when something's going wrong at home. So in those life categories, for example, thinking about if for example you're someone who has a belief and are active in the pursuit of your spiritual life, how do you want people in your community of faith to remember you, whether that's at the church, at the mosque or the temple or the synagogue or wherever? In your married life, whether you're married or single, how do you want the people that were in your household to remember you, whether that's your spouse or other people that you shared accommodation with? With your family and children, what do you want your brothers and sisters, your uncles and aunts, but in particular, what do you want your children to say about you as a parent? At work, again, as we've mentioned, different examples of what people who worked alongside you, what do you want them to say about you? What do you want people to say in terms of your attitude towards money? That is something that an awful lot of people spend a lot of time and energy pursuing. What do you want them to say about you in terms of your attitude towards money? When it comes to physical health, how did you impact other people's lives in terms of how you looked after your own body? Were you someone, in terms of personal and mental development, were you an active learner? When it comes to friendships, what do you want stories for them to say about you and their friendship? When it came to recreation and hobbies, again, what do you want people to say about how you shared that part of your life with them? If you get stuck on all of these things, the second option there in step 2 in your notes is try calling to mind your heroes and heroines and mentors or role models, the people you admire and want to be like, and ask yourself the question, what characteristics attract you about their lives? And that will help you key in to the person of who you want to be. We're going to give you about 15 minutes or so to be able to write notes into that, and then in your peer coaching pairs, we want you then to talk through what stood out to you from those notes. All of that will then be opened up and unfolded a lot more in the deep dive session. Thank you.